Hi, welcome to my classroom. I wanted to go ahead and make this video because I have been on a science of reading journey for the last about 2 years. And I honestly went in kicking and screaming. I've been in the profession for 18 years and it's like one more training, one more thing to do. But this year I've implemented the science of reading strategies as well as some tried and tested ones from my first years of teaching, and I have seen the most growth I've ever seen. Of my 20 kids, half of them showed a year's growth in one semester. I am anxiously awaiting for the end of year test results to see how much they grow by the end of the year. I have been completely blown away. In the beginning, I was overwhelmed with what they presented to me. So what I ended up doing was creating slides, and those slides include all the things that we learned in science of reading, in addition to Heggerty, Where's Their Way, guided reading, multisensory, and dyslexia training. So I tried to put all that into one PowerPoint. My kids and I click through this as a team together every day and have had so many more rich conversations. So let's take a look. So you're going to see that there's a ton of pictures in here, and I want to thank Pixabay for many of the pictures that I use. This PowerPoint are going to focus on the big five. You're going to see phonemic awareness, you're going to see phonics, vocabulary, comprehension, and fluency in these PowerPoints. It can be used as a homeschool, at guided reading. It includes things like blend, digraphs. It has sign language in there for the multisensory part, and pictures to support both proper articulation, because I have pictures of the mouth movements, as well as emergent learners, or the ELLs, or ones who are just learning English. It starts all the way with short A, like app and ag, and we proceed through all the short vowels, things like ink, ink, and unk. Then we go into the R controls, our long vowels, more of the deeper R controls. Then we have O-I, O-Y, O-U, O-O. Then we have the K-N-N-G, and ending up with inflected endings with E-D, S, I-N-G. There are going to be a total of 50 PowerPoints by the time I'm done. This one gives you your clues to what I'm talking about when I use the word continuous, fricative, glides, liquids, because I am going to reference how to form the shape of their mouths when they're speaking. So here's one day. We're going to focus today on the long E. So when we look at this slide, we have a review of everything we've done, but you notice these are in red because they're brand new to the kids. So we're going to take some time and talk about the 7 spellings of the long E. Then we will review the R controls. If it's in red, it is new. We always review our digraphs, S-H-T-H-W-H, and C-H, and blends. My kids use the words blends and digraphs and H brothers like the back of their hands now because we do it every single day. This slide gives them a clue to when and how these spellings are used. So EA appears at the beginning and middle of words. EE appears at the beginning and middle of words. But notice, E consonant E, this is an uncommon spelling. So my kids are learning that if they need to make an educated guess, this is not going to be their go-to because it's uncommon. We talked about what that word means. End of words. So we have 4 spellings for the end of the long E. And at the end of syllables, we talk about syllables, and you'll see later that we even break syllables down within this program. So Heggerty and phonemic awareness, they always want them breaking sounds apart, playing with sounds. And today we're going to do where do you hear the long E in these words? And they need to know if it's at the beginning, the middle, or the end. So I will say scream. They will say scream. We tap it. Eam. And I'll ask them where they hear the E in this word. And we'll go through each of these, tapping it out and looking for where the sound is. Here, you notice this is in cursive. That is, hang on. You'll notice that is in cursive. And The reason it's in cursive is that is your clue. Now, some of my kids, even though they're only first grade, are picking up on how to read cursive because they want to know how to cheat. If they learn to read cursive, I'll work with that. But for right now, that is my clue to know that what's coming up is the word street. So I will say st, eat. They'll say street, and then they get a picture of this. This supports their language development. This supports their vocabulary, as well as helps them to break up sounds. So this is where their work starts. So the one thing I hand them is a whiteboard. So when they see a word pop up on the screen, they're saying it, they're writing it. They can make their columns, EE, EA, E consonant E. So we're doing the whole words their way of breaking up the words into their spelling patterns as well. You're going to see several of these. We have cheer, so they would write cheer, and they would put it under the same column as street. After I give them the sounds and they tell me the word whole, now they have to segment. So I will choose students and I'll say, everybody say seat, and then I'll choose one student to tap out all the sounds in seat, sleep, bean, and screen. In Heggerty, you also see them changing sounds. So I say change the, say bean, there's bean picture to support so they know what it is. Change the b to s, and they change the sound. Change the, say scene, they say scene, change the s to oo. And what's really cool is I have one student in particular who loves to read everything he sees on the screen. Even if it's teacher notes, he loves to read them. So after sound substitution, now we're going to move into rhyming, which is a huge phonemic. Notice we're still yellow. That means we're still in phonemic awareness. A synonym for nice is blank. This word rhymes with meat. So they're going to throw out words that mean nice, but they need to confirm whether it rhymes with meat. And then they get it this sweet. They do not see the word sweet. This is phonemic awareness. So it is in cursive as a teacher note, so you know what I'm referring to, but it's not necessarily their note. Now we turn to blue. Blue is phonics. So now they will read the word, and when it flips, they see the picture. Again, they read the word. The whole time, they're writing it on their whiteboard. So now you're going to see spell the word. So I'm going to say meat. There's two people shaking hands. They tap it out. Eat. There are multiple spellings for E. They have to either use their memory or their understanding of what's common and uncommon. They write it, and then we check our work. So once they finish doing their reading, now we're going to be separating the words into syllables. So I will say cheerful, or they will read cheerful. Most of the time they just read it to me. We put our hand on our jaw, cheerful. We look for where the syllables are broken up. They draw their line on their board where they wrote it. I let some kids come up usually and draw the line here, and we flip the screen and they get to see that, yes, that is where the syllable breaks up. On this one in particular, we'd be talking about open and closed syllables so that that E makes it sound, but this E still says eh. Now we're going to be adding on our suffixes, and the kids would literally write on their board. She, for past tense, she, cheered, present tense, and they need to write these sentences on their board. This is where we can kind of get a little bit of a mental break. We talk about the nouns, the verbs, the adjectives, the adverbs that we see in this picture. We talk about what the different parts of speech mean, and then I ask them to write a sentence about this picture. When they are done, they share with a partner, And then we go through the checklist. Do you have a subject? Look at your work. Do you have a predicate, a verb that tells you what's happening? Please check your work. So we'll go through our checklist, and through this I am seeing improvement in their writing as well. The red switches to high frequency. There's many ways that you can do this. I invite you to use your favorite high sensory or sight word review strategies, multisensory strategies to review these. So we have basically like flashcards of the ones that are coming up in their current new reader. So the kids can review. They can be writing these down. They can be reading it to a partner. So the first set you saw were all the review ones that we've seen through the program already. These are the ones that are for this new set of words, this new passage that we're working towards. At the end of sight words is always now using those affixes. This starts in, I want to say, lesson number 16. And we want to put on all those suffixes. So we have the S, the ing, but we even have some like able, and changing it to ring instead of ringed. So we have, the kids are learning how to use this. I ask them to use it in sentences. I'll say the word is. They will tell me. I'm like, please use that in a sentence, and they have to practice using that correctly in a sentence. Now we're into green. Green is going to be the comprehension piece. So it's always going to be some vocabulary as well as a passage or sentences to read. So today you see that we are looking at the definition of race. There's multiple meanings of race. I have each one up here, whether it's a verb or an adjective, pictures to support, and then I ask, can you use race in a sentence? We want to work on categorization. I found this is a really hard thing for my kids. So in cursive, for you, I have things that you do on a snowy day. So you have sledding, building a snowman, snowball fights, or drinking hot cocoa. And the kids can tell you that they can suspect winter, they can suspect things you do outside, and you're like, oh, well, what about the hot cocoa? And then they can get to the point that it's a snowy day thing. Today, on day one, once you get, I want to say it's in lesson 16, I try to do some nonfiction. So this is nonfiction about winter because the passage we're going to read is about sledding. So I want to give them some nonfiction about winter activities. And here we have our picture of the luge. At the end, celebration. They did a great job, and I encourage them to go to their list read packet, which is another thing that I have uploaded that works specifically with these sounds and blends that you see in here. Hope you enjoy.